Hello and welcome to Clearview Television. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. Human rights lawyers, civil society groups say they have uncovered plots by State Security Service to frame up central bank governor for alleged terrorism financing. You can't beat the beavers, INEC tells desperate politicians. South Africa's scandal-hit President Cyril Ramaphosa re-elected as governing ANC's leader. I'm Florence Joshua with these and more. Human rights lawyers, chairmen of political parties, civil society groups, ethnic youth leaders including Arewa Youth Consultative Movement operating under the auspices of Coalition of National Interest Defenders have raised the alarm over plots by the State Security Service to frame up the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, for terrorism. The group also wants the Director General of the service sacked immediately and prosecuted. Addressing a joint World Press Conference this Monday, the convener of the coalition, Tochukwu Oriziwike, said that the security agencies filed a motion in court accusing the CBN governor of terrorism financing and other crimes. It's described as economic crimes of national security dimension. TV's correspondent was there and now reports. Narrating the history of the plot to sack the CBN governor, the group said they intercepted credible intelligence about a plot at certain high places in government to stop the central bank governor Godwin Emefiele by all means, and thus the policy to redesign the naira with its January 31st, 2023 deadline and cash withdrawal limit policy frustrated.
Dear Nigerians, on the 7th of December 2022, just 24 hours after the CBN officially announced the cash withdrawal policy, a barrage of coordinated actions were taken, all targeted at ensuring that Mr. Godwin Emefiele was removed from office or ceased to be the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. These activities include activating the filing of cases against Mr. Emefiele to ensure he ceases to be in office as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, latest by the end of the year, as these plotters resolved. We have firmly in our custody genuine hardcore evidence of a plot by the State Security Service to frame the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, for terrorism financing, which will pave way for the forceful removal of the CBN governor from office and destabilize the President Buhari-backed CBN economic stability and reform efforts, especially the new currency design and cash withdrawal limit policies, which in the immediate will help achieve President Buhari's promise for credible election in 2023.
The group further said that the plot is to arrest Emefiele and keep him away for at least 60 days in solitary confinement, which will pave way for his forceful removal from office and destabilized President Muhammadu Buhari-backed CBN economic stability and reform efforts, especially the new currency redesign and cash withdrawal limit policies, which in the immediate will help achieve President Muhammadu Buhari's promise of a credible election in 2023. The newly redesigned Naira notes came into circulation on Thursday. This came about 3 weeks after the President Muhammadu Buhari unveiled the new bills at a weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Aso Rock Villa. The President unveiled the redesigned notes across the 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira denominations. The Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, had in October announced that the Apex Bank would release redesigned Naira notes by December 15, 2022. He also disclosed that the old note would be a case to be regarded as legal tender by January 31, 2023. The Apex Bank has stuck to his gun as the redesigned Naira notes went into circulation. Clearviewtv correspondents went into different banks to get the reactions of customers to the introduction of the new notes. Many of the bank customers expressed reactions uncertain about the impact it would have had on them in the long run. Although not many have received the new Naira notes, Some bank customers attested to have gotten the new Naira note due to the special relationship they have had with the bank. Another customer and a farmer said the rationale behind the new notes was not well conceived and thought out. According to him, it is going to affect the economy. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, had on October the 26th announced plans to redesign 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira notes. According to Emefiele, the new Naira notes would take effect from December 15th and Nigerians would have to wait till January 31st to 31st, 2023 to exchange their old Naira notes. As the new Naira note goes into circulation, TV's Imefon Okon was on the streets of Abuja to get reactions from Nigerians on the circulation of the redesigned currency notes and to also know if commercial banks have them in stock.
The rate at which inflation has been galloping in the country has been a major source of concern for the Central Bank of Nigeria. The bank has therefore adopted different measures to tame the surging inflation, which hit a 17-year high of 21.47% in November. Some of the latest steps taken by the Monetary Authority to address the challenges were the redesign of the Naira and the introduction of a new cash withdrawal limit. Although not many have received the new Naira notes, particularly in Abuja metropolis, a bank customer, Chukwudi Agu, said he has gotten the new note.
I came to the bank to withdraw some money and they gave me, you can see, this is the 1,000 Naira, the new notes. So for the new money, it's working. And we must commend the Central Bank of Nigeria for this policy and the way they are also controlling the fallout.
I made a withdrawal yesterday, and I was expecting that the money that will be coming out from the ATM should be the new note. But you see, because of the inability of Central Bank to meet up with their problem, with the time they are given, the time schedule, has shown that the thing that they are doing, they're only doing it to mess the economy.
I have not. All the one I got is the old one. So we are expecting that we are going to get to that. At least maybe they miss it. They didn't miss it. I took 30,000. This is 10. I have 5 now. So it has not been effective. And I don't know how they are going to do it anyway.
Most of the ATM are not paying. They say we will get the new Naira, nothing like new Naira. We are still withdrawing the old Naira everywhere. I didn't even see it with my eye up till now. So I'm not sure the new Naira is available for now.
I make withdrawal today, just not quite long. I've not seen anything like that. It's still the old note that I see printing out, coming out of the ATM.
Clearview TV's correspondent who went to different banks to get the reactions of customers reports that many say the introduction of the new Naira note in the wake of harsh economic realities is not a welcome development, as they expressed uncertainty about the impact it will have on them in the long run.
Changing money is a norm world over. Every 10 years, 20 years, money must be changed in very other civilized climes. Nigeria have not done this for a long time and they just did it. So there's no time you will do it, people will not complain. So the critical thing is to ensure that there is maximum reach.
No, we don't need this. We don't need this. This is not what Nigeria needs. People are looking for work. There's no job. There's even accommodation, demolition. Many people are suffering. I think what we need now is for our youth to get something doing.
The priority is not the changing of money. The priority is how do people get money to buy things, to eat. The hardship that common man, not even common man, are facing is for them to make sure that they find a way of relieving.
This is not what we want. This is going to add more hardship. It's going to make life more difficult, and not in this season, this period that we're supposed to have enough money.
I said that Emefiele should be hung on the tree because it's, instead of making the economy to be more palatable and more suitable for Nigeria, it's adding hardship.
It may interest you to know that Emefiele explained that the redesign of the local currency became necessary to tackle inflationary problems, currency counterfeiting, insecurity, and other issues plaguing Nigeria. He also stated that the Naira redesign was targeted at controlling currency in circulation as well as ransom payment to kidnappers and terrorists. Imefon Okon, reporting for Clearview Television.
The new redesigned Naira notes are still generating reactions from stakeholders in the industry, as many of the view that the federal government should ensure the notes are available for customers. Eze Oyekpere is a lawyer with specialization in development law, including electricity reforms, fiscal governance, and constitutional reform. Oyekpere wants the Central Bank of Nigeria to make the new redesigned Naira notes available to all banks since implementation has commenced. He spoke with our correspondent Samson Orimiloye.
Right now, my own view is to think about yesterday they said it was supposed to take off, and many Nigerians went to the banks and we are still paid with the old notes. And even those who went to the machines said they were still getting old notes. So the expectation was that by now, that the banks, the CBN should have made sufficient sums of money, the new notes available to the banks and the paying machines, so that as at now, what will have been happening is that any old note that gets into the system will not come out again, and then the new notes will now gradually be taken over in the system until the terminal period, rather than a situation where, as at yesterday, people were still being paid with old notes.
On the effects of the new notes on the economy, Oyekpere has this to say.
Well, the challenges that is facing Nigeria about poverty, rising inflation, lack of access to credit for the private sector, is something we thought that the central bank should have focused on cutting down the excess money they are giving to the federal government, excess borrowing in ways and means. This is more or less a cosmetic approach, a cosmetic solution, which is not going to add any major value to the economy. But since the CBN have taken the decision and said no going back, and they've already started implementing, so let it be. But I don't see any value addition, particularly if you look at the costs involved in printing the currency, because the CBN has refused to disclose what it costs, and you must be sure it must be quite a handsome cost. So I don't think it was a priority, but the CBN has done based on this idea of what it ought to do, and then we have to live with it.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says politicians buying permanent voters' cards, PVC, to manipulate the 2023 general elections are engaging in futile efforts. According to INEC, the bimodal voter registration system, BIVAS, the technology that will be used for the accreditation and authentication of voters come 2023, will reject biometric data of persons who are not original owners of the traded PVCs. Two non-governmental organizations, the Northern Elders Forum and the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, had alleged that politicians are buying PVCs from poor voters to manipulate the next elections. However, Okoye on Sunday describes as an impossibility the plan by desperate politicians who are already harvesting PVCs to rig the next election. He insisted that it's an electoral offense to be found with a PVC that doesn't belong to another person, noting that security agencies have the responsibility to go after such individuals and prosecute them. The INEC commissioner also said polling units have been removed from shrines, church, mosques, and home of powerful politicians to ensure electoral integrity. The spiritual leader of the Brotherhood of the Cross and Star, Olumba Obu, has declared that 2023 general elections will be peaceful if Nigerian leaders will humble themselves and display love, selflessness, peace, and unity. The divine manifestation of the leader of the BCS was disclosed in Abuja during a press briefing by the spokesman of the Brotherhood, Amma Williams.
Therefore, we invite the entire world to the 2022 edition of the celebration of the divine manifestation of the Ancient of Days, leader Olumba Obu, which will start on Monday, 26th of December 2022, with a flag-off ceremony, and ends with the grand finale on 30th December 2022. In keeping with this, 27th day of December 2022 has been declared World Charity Day by our Holy Father, The 2022 edition of the World Charity Day shall witness visits to correctional centers across the nation and visits to IDP camps, while individuals are encouraged to give out arms.
The speech proclaims the meaning and impact of divine manifestation and significance it holds to the global community. Following the growing concern about insecurity in the 2023 general elections, Williams said the spiritual leaders, through the celebration of the divine manifestation, have engaged in peace-building efforts in the country. He assured Nigerians that the 2023 elections will be peaceful, but the leadership and people must acknowledge and adopt the teachings of selflessness, love, peace, and oneness of brotherhood.
We make bold to say that except leaders of the world embrace the divine precepts of the brotherhood of man, where all forms of discrimination shall cease to exist, and the fatherhood of God, where all men shall worship one God, one and only living God, as taught by leader Olumba Olumbabu, man shall continue to wallow in spiritual darkness.
This year's 4th edition of the annual Divine Manifestation has as its theme Unification of the Human Race. The Uncharted Path to Lasting Peace will be held in Calabar, Cross River State, from 29th to 30th December 2022. The Abuja Division of the Federal High Court this Monday found the former Senior Special Assistant on Media to ex-President Goodluck Jonathan, Doyin Okupe, guilty of breaching the Money Laundering Act. The court, in a judgment that was delivered by Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu, convicted Okupe, who is the Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council, PCC, of the Labour Party, for breaching Section 16, subsection 1 and 2 of the Money Laundering Act. The court held that evidence before it established that Okupe had, in the discharge of his official duties, accepted cash payments that were above the statutory threshold without recourse to a financial institution. It was alleged that Okupe received funds from the Office of the National Security Advisor, NSA, while Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired, was in charge. Though Justice Ojukwu held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has successfully established its case against Okupe, it stood the matter down to enable the defendant to enter his plea of clemency, as provided for in Section 310 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA 2015. The indigenous people of Biafra has accused the federal government of systematically killing its leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The pro-Biafran group said it was high time the whole world spoke against the atrocity going on in the DSS Abuja dungeon against the leader of IPOB. It also claimed that the federal government had deliberately planned to eliminate Kanu at the DSS solitary confinement. These were contained in a statement made available to journalists by the group's media and publicity secretary, Ima Powerful. The statement read, "The federal government has deliberately planned to eliminate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is illegally detained in DSS solitary confinement." South Africa's scandal-hit President Cyril Ramaphosa has been re-elected as the governing ANC's leader to wild cheers from his supporters. He defeated his rival Zui Mekizi by 2,476 votes to 1,897. Ramaphosa won despite being dogged by allegations of money laundering and a last-minute surge in support for Mekizi, who has also been accused of corruption. Both denied the allegations. His victory puts him in pole position to lead the ANC in the 2024 election. But he's still at risk as he's being investigated by the police, the tax office and central bank over allegations that he stashed at least $580,000 in a sofa at his private farm and then covered it up with the theft. A panel of legal experts appointed by the Speaker of the Parliament said that he had a case to answer as he may have violated the Constitution and broken an anti-corruption law. His supporters burst into song and dance after he was declared the winner in a result that saw him win by a bigger margin than when he first ran for the leadership of the governing party, the African National Congress, in 2017. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Clearview Television, and when we come back, we bring you stories on women and children. Stay with us.
The news continues now with stories from our area of specialization, women and children. After the main transmission of our news, we rebroadcast on our YouTube page, Clearviewtv. Do you operate a women or children's NGO? Are you at the helm of affairs of a government establishment or a corporate organization involved in the affairs of women and children? Then you are our partners in progress. We have a mission to better the lot of our women and children. Join us to celebrate womanhood and work assiduously to better the lot of the Nigerian child. This is our mission.
Welcome back. The Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talent, has expressed displeasure with political parties in Nigeria for always throwing women under the carpet despite their enormous contributions to the nation's electioneering process. She is therefore calling on Nigerian women to continue to show solidarity and support for fellow women in the forthcoming 2023 general elections. She made the call at the Presidential Scorecard media briefing in Abuja. ClearviewtV's Gloria Atta has the details.
The 13th edition of the Presidential Scorecard Series for ministries, departments and agencies of government was designed to provide a platform for senior government officials to discuss their policy initiatives and evaluate their performance in the course of discharging their duties over a period of time. Speaking on the operational activities of the ministry since her assumption of office in 2019, the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talent, says the ministry has recorded landmark achievements in promoting political, social and economic rights of women and children through a number of programs and initiatives and through strategic collaborations with relevant stakeholders.
Advocacy for the domestication of the Child's Right Act by all states of the Federation. I had mentioned that we've virtually covered the 36 states and our partners are indeed very happy and proud of us. We launched the Year of the Action to End Violence Against Children. This was done by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari on the 15th of September 2015 in Abuja. We've sustained the campaign along with National Strategy to End Child Marriage in Nigeria. The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015 has also been has been domesticated by 34 states. The 2 states, I've got the assurance before the end of this administration, definitely.
She noted that although women's participation in decision-making in corporate and public spaces has increased over the years, more still needed to be done to ensure their full participation.
Our country, the men are so domineering, they are so self-centered, they don't want to. That's true. They don't want to give space to women. We will show Nigerians that women support women. I am using this medium to call on all well-meaning Nigerian women to support one another. We must support the women that are contesting, the few that have emerged. If we don't have women at the decision table, there's no way our laws can be better that will suit the family. Because whatever a woman does, she takes the interest of her children and the family at large.
Earlier, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the scorecard briefing gives the media the opportunity to ask pertinent questions about the performance of ministers and evaluate the performance of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration.
We launched the PMB Administration Scorecard Series on October 19, 2022 to showcase and document the numerous achievements of the Buhari administration.
The Presidential Scorecard Series for President Muhammadu Buhari has hosted 12 ministers since his assumption into office in 2015, including the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Transportation, Works and Housing, Aviation, Water Resources, Mines and Steel Development, to mention a few. Gloria Atta, reporting for Clearview Television.
And that's the news. But before we go, a recap of the top stories. Human rights lawyers, civil society groups have raised the alarm over alleged plots by the State Security Service to frame up the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, for terrorism financing. The group also wants the Director General of the State Security Service sacked immediately and prosecuted. Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has said that politicians buying permanent voters' cards to manipulate the 2023 general elections are engaging in futile efforts. According to the INEC boss, the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System (BVAS), the technology that will be used for the accreditation and authentication of voters come 2023, will reject biometric data of persons who are not original owners of the traded PVCs. We also told you that South Africa's scandal-hit President Cyril Ramaphosa has been re-elected as the governing ANC's leader to wild cheers from his supporters. He defeated his rival Zweli Mkhize by 2,476 votes to 1,897 votes. Remember to like us on Facebook, Clearview Television. Follow us on Twitter at Clearviewtv. Follow us on Instagram at Clearviewtv_NJ. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Clearview TV. Thank you for watching. I am Florence Joshua.